President Moon also met with the prime ministers of Singapore and Russia on the sidelines of the ASEAN Forum. Later in the afternoon, he also attended the East Asia Summit, a gathering of leaders from 18 countries. Hwang Hojun has more on what kept the Liberal leader extra busy on the last day of his Southeast Asia tour.
It was his last full day in Manila, and the president didn't let it go to waste, again expounding on his plans to broaden the horizon of South Korea's diplomacy. On the sidelines of the ASEAN Forum on Tuesday, President Moon Jae-in held a bilateral meeting with Singapore's Prime Minister Hsien Loong. The two heads of government agreed to expand joint efforts to prepare for the Fourth Industrial Revolution and to make sure the relationship between the two countries continues to develop. To achieve that, they agreed on the importance of linking Seoul's Smart City project with Singapore's Smart Nation project and improving their bilateral free trade agreement. Earlier on his tour of the region, President Moon unveiled his new Southern policy, which aims to expand Seoul's relations with ASEAN members. Shortly after, President Moon had another one-on-one meeting with Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev. According to a statement from the Blue House, President Moon and Medvedev reached an understanding that Seoul and Moscow will never accept a nuclear North Korea and that Russia will support Seoul's efforts to bring Pyongyang to the negotiation table through peaceful means. The two also exchanged thoughts on President Moon's new northern policy, which seeks to reinforce economic cooperation with Russia and Central Asian nations, including the swift signing of a Korea-Eurasia Free Trade Agreement. Later the same day, President Moon attended the 18-nation East Asia Summit, which also involves the U.S., Russia, Australia, New Zealand, and India. During this meeting, the leaders came together and condemned Pyongyang's continued development of its nuclear and missile programs and urged the international community to enforce the UN Security Council's sanctions on the regime in their entirety. Talks were also held regarding the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, which President Moon initially had planned to attend. However, due to scheduling reasons, the Blue House confirmed that South Korean Trade Minister Kim Hyun-jong went to the meeting in President Moon's place. And for his very last schedule, President Moon hosted a meeting to communicate with and encourage the Korean residents of the Philippines. He thanked them for their hard work overseas, making Korea proud, and also asked them for their undivided support and help to draw the world's attention to the upcoming Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. Hwang Hojun, Arirang News.